The Treatment of the Jewish People in Europe During World War II by Chase Shrum, Michelle Lochner, Shauna Crandall, and Joseph Kelly in order of narration. After the loss of World War I, the Weimar Republic was developed. However, it was an extremely weak government system. The German people wanted to return to the empire that they were prior to World War I, not some new republic. This caused the development of many new parties, one of which being the German National Socialist Workers' Party, or the NSDAP. This extreme nationalist party was developed around the year 1920 and very quickly grew in number. After a failed attempt by Hitler in 1923 to depose of the government, which landed him in jail, he ordered the Nazi Party to follow the laws and told them that they would gain power by election. In the year 1930, Germany entered into a global economic crisis where millions and millions of Germans lost their jobs. They could not repay the war debts that they had owed, and their political system was at its all-time low. This was ideal for Adolf Hitler, as he was viewed as a strong leader. New elections were being held left and right, and the NSDAP very quickly gained more and more votes. However, in an election in 1932, the NSDAP still could not get enough votes to win. They then pressured Paul von Hindenburg to appoint Hitler as chancellor, and on January 30th, 1933, he finally gave in and made Adolf Hitler chancellor. Hitler blamed the Jewish people for the economic crisis and was able to get the Nazi Party to follow his orders blindly, murdering, raping, and Germanizing the Jewish people. The treatment of the Jewish people was an absolute genocide that affected everybody around the entire globe.
The Nuremberg Laws were passed in 1935 and decreed that only Aryans could be full German citizens. These laws made official the Nazi persecution of Jews. In 1933, Jews were denied the right to hold public office or civil service positions. Furthermore, Jews were denied employment by the press and radio, as well as from farming. During 1934, Jews were excluded from stock exchanges and stock brokerage. It can also be noted that Jews were prevented from marrying each other. Before these laws were passed, anti-Semitic acts took place. These included burning books by Jewish authors and authors with anti-Nazi sentiments and boycotting Jewish shops. It is important to note that the Jews are not the only targeted group during this time. The elderly, physically and mentally disabled, and gypsies also experienced discrimination and violence. Kristallnacht, also known as Night of Broken Glass, or Crystal Night, took place during the night of November 9th through 10th, 1938. Kristallnacht can be labeled a state-sponsored race riots in which Jewish shops were attacked and synagogues burned down. Homes, schools, hospitals, and cemeteries were also targeted. In addition to properties being destroyed, as pictured in the two images, 30,000 Jewish men were arrested and sent to Nazi concentration camps, specifically Dachau. Kristallnacht can be considered to be a turning point, as it symbolized the Third Reich's shift from small anti-Semitic acts to aggressive acts that would culminate with the Holocaust. The Munich Agreement was signed on September 29, 1938, between Germany, Italy, Great Britain, and France. This agreement resulted in Czechoslovakia surrendering its border region, the Sudetenland, to Nazi Germany. The surrendering the Sudetenland to Nazi Germany would soon lead to the invasion of Poland.
The German-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact, signed on August 23, 1939, enabled Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union to partition Poland between them. It promised neither country would attack each other for 10 years and declared that neither government would ally itself to or aid an enemy of the other. The pact also ensured economic cooperation and territorial expansion. On September 1st, 1939, 1 week after signing the Non-Aggression Pact, Hitler launched an invasion of Poland on land and from the air. Hitler invaded Poland to give Germans living space in Eastern Europe, to regain territory lost in the Treaty of Versailles, and as a stepping stone to eventually entering and conquering Russia. In November 1939, Hans Frank ordered all Jews in occupied Poland to mark themselves by wearing a white armband with a blue Star of David. Gradually, the requirement to wear a Jewish badge was extended to other German-occupied areas. Most commonly, these badges were a fabric Star of David that Jews were required to sew or pin to their clothing. In the fall of 1940, the Warsaw Ghetto was established. Ghettos were walled off, heavily guarded sections of a city where all Jews were forced to live. Eventually, thousands of ghettos were created in occupied territories. Conditions inside the ghettos were horrific, as many suffered from overcrowding, starvation, disease, and death.
The Einstein Group was a secret police force that collaborated with the SS intelligence services immediately following the German army in occupied territory. Their tasks included identifying and neutralizing potential enemies of German rule, seizing important sites, and preventing sabotage, and recruiting collaborators and establishing intelligence networks. When Germany attacked Poland in September of 1939, the Einstein Group also killed civilians that were perceived as enemies. Together with the units of the Waffen-SS, Order Police, and local collaborators, they shot thousands of Jews and tens of thousands of members of the Polish elite. In June 1941, the scale of the Einstein Group mass murder operations vastly increased. The main targets were members of the Communist Party, Soviet state officials, gypsies, and Jews of any age or sex. Under the cover of war and using potential pretext of military necessity, the Einstein Group organized help to carry out the shootings of more than 500,000, the vast majority of them Jews, in the first 9 months of the war. The 3,000 personnel of 4 Einstein Groupings did not conduct these killings alone. Units of the Waffen-SS, Order Police, and the Allied remaining forces and local collaborators aided them. They later helped to identify victims as well as kill them. Many of the killers and victims knew one another as neighbors and colleagues. For example, over 2 days in September 1941, a small detachment of Einstein Group C, along with units of the Waffen-SS, Order Police, and Ukrainian auxiliaries, shot 3,771 Jews in the Babi Yar ravine outside Kiev.
Amethyst